Man, shame on you if you ain't teaching them the right ways to go about life. Cause this ain't it. What's going on, everybody? It's your girl B Octavia, and I am back with another video. I hope that everybody's day is going well. I've been running errands and doing what has to be done, and this will be a pretty serious video about the youth, about today's generation, about the generation that's under me, and it's a trend that's going on in the city that we must know about and be aware of. If you don't know me, my name is B Octavia. I am from Washington, D.C., and I'm an entrepreneur. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, in today's video, I will be talking about 3 separate situations, scenarios involving juveniles in the District of Columbia who have been involved in carjackings just recently. It's the beginning of August, and I have collected 3 articles about 3 separate situations that happened in the month of July. And as soon as I realized that fact, that all of these scenarios happened in the month of July, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get on this. This is very serious. It's a trend that wasn't around. Motherfuckers, when I was 12, 13, or however, you know, even up to 16, 17, nobody, girl or boy, was talking about doing a carjacking. It was dependent on the area that you was from. Being from Southeast, it wasn't a lot of carjackings that people was talking about. It wasn't a lot of carjackings being done by juveniles. That's just my opinion. You know, because a lot of times when you talk about murder and talk about DC now, people want to say, oh, it wasn't as bad as this. Well, this shit wasn't around when I was around the neighborhood. This shit wasn't around. So this is very new. So let's get into these scenarios, and then I will share my thoughts. The first scenario, let's get into it. 2 suspects, including a juvenile, was arrested after an armed carjacking in Northeast DC. So get this. A man and a juvenile boy were arrested on July 27th after an armed carjacking turned into the police pursuing them in Maryland. It was said that the suspect driving tried to go into Maryland to lose the police because it's the little state line situation, but the police already hip on that, y'all. Like, y'all don't think the police know about that by now, and y'all done tried to pull that every time? They already got PGPD on the line, and PGPD took over and started to pursue the vehicle. And both suspects hopped out by Capitol Heights, and they took off on foot, where PGPD was on their ass, okay? And they were apprehended. At this time, there is a full investigation on the vehicle that was used to get away, and the gun that was used in this carjacking is involved in this investigation. Police believe this duo, both man and juvenile boy, may be linked to other crimes in the DC area. Now, why they said the vehicle to get away was after they stole the vehicle from the victim, they then ditched the car, and they had another one nearby that they got into, and that is the car that police were pursuing. Now, on this one, I want to say shame on him. Shame on you for being a duo with a little boy. You know what I'm saying? Shame on you. Anybody that is that close and has a close relationship to somebody who is younger than them, whether you be a mentor, you ain't blood, whether you be their child, is father and son, or fucking uncle and nephew. You know what I'm saying? Shame on you if you ain't teaching them the right ways to go about life. Because this ain't it. This ain't it at all. You taking them down a road that you already been down. Damn. I sure do hate when it's situations like this. I really do. It really makes me angry because it's like, I mean, you shouldn't be around no kids. That's just like a person that got pedophile-like ways. You shouldn't be around no kids. But if you willing to be a bad influence on the youth and on a person that is deemed this generation right here, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? You ain't teaching them nothing. Nothing good. Nothing that he can move through life in a positive way with. Nothing. And we're moving on. Okay? Leave your thoughts down below for situation scenario number 1. Now, we moving on to number 2. And this one is even sadder than the first. On the 28th of July, a 13-year-old boy was charged in connection with a armed carjacking. This carjacking occurred around noon that day. He and another individual approached a woman in the parking garage of an apartment building. And this was also in Northeast. They allegedly abruptly punched this woman in the face, and one of them pulled out a handgun. They fled the scene in her car, and a fake gun was recovered in the surrounding area of that crime scene. It's unclear to me how they or just one of them got apprehended or however it went. Nobody is talking about that. And they're only talking about the 13-year-old that was involved. So hopefully this other individual will either turn itself in, which or somebody gonna tell on you because you've been yapping about it. But this crime remains under investigation. No other details have been released, but I'll definitely be keeping up with all of these cases. The last situation I'm going to talk about is a carjacking that happened in the second week of July. This crime happened in the late afternoon in the location of Southeast DC. 4 suspects approached the victim who was sitting in their car. 2 of the 4 suspects got into the vehicle and attacked the victim with a stun gun. Now remember, that situation that happened when that dude got killed next to the ballpark, those juveniles used a stun gun too. So I'm going to come to certain conclusions at the end of this video that I want y'all to stay tuned for. Now, back to this. In the scenario, however, the 4 suspects were not able to get the 1 car, okay? And they fled on foot. Officers quickly arrested 3 juveniles aged 16, 14, and 12. Our police say that they are hopeful in finding the last suspect, but they have not yet. And here's the kicker of this one. Only 1 of the 3 juveniles were actually charged for this attempted carjacking. The victim reportedly did not sustain any injuries that we could see. Emotional scars are real though. The DMV is currently experiencing a very high number of carjackings. Between January of this year all the way up to this point, which is of course August, but the end of July, there have been roughly 186 carjackings. It's a 74% increase from last year, and that's huge. First of all, I'm praying for the youth, but I'm mad. I'm mad at the parents of these juveniles, and I'm mad at whoever got them on this trend. Now, my theory is that some OGs, and not no respectful ones, but some OGs then got out from however many decades ago, and as a result of that, they trying this shit, right? They trying this shit on the youth in different areas. They turning them into who they always wanted to be. And they wanted them to do shit that they always wanted to do. Maybe cars was easier to steal back then, but that shit ain't gonna be that sweet now. So whoever got them on this trend of using these stun guns and shit, you gotta tell them to cut it out, cause they don't know what they doing. They don't know how to drive. They don't got no guidance. And they damn near don't have even half of a brain. It's still in development, right? But a lot of ignorance can slow down the process of what's supposed to be a very bright teenager to a demon. I don't respect this shit at all. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it started. And it ain't like we got all these chop shops around the city where you can hurry up and take something and break it down. I'm not trying to talk no illegal talk. I'm just saying. Honestly, we don't. The stun gun thing, that really is becoming a recurring theme. And I think that they should really try to make some type of comparisons in if these juveniles know each other, who is all of their guardians and parents. How can we link this shit up? Seriously. Seriously and honestly, because they need to stop. Even in the one scenario with the woman that got punched in the face in the apartment parking garage. God damn. I mean, y'all are so desperate. And I find it sad because I come from an area of poverty. That's all a lot of us know, but the desperation for money, you would be like, I'm still floored at their desperation because I never thought to break somebody's peace, you know, to scare the shit out of them and then take their money, or just because I need to eat, I starve, and I have. It's a lot of these juveniles that ain't even willing to starve. You in poverty and you don't even know how it feel because you're not even in reality. A lot of y'all want Montclair this and that and G-Star, or is that even still the thing? I don't know. But the brands, right? You gotta work for it. And the sad thing about it, these jobs is set up to where we're not even gonna be able to afford that. How the fuck? We're not even gonna be able to afford a place to live if we don't have what? 2-3 roommates? To break it a little bit. Them minimum wage ass jobs they're not designed for us to maintain a good life. And we still gotta do that. So you're gonna have to work even harder. And that's what you gotta learn about life. You can't keep taking shit from people. And as a elder, you can't be teaching them that. You can't be teaching them by any means. You can't go hungry. You can. And sometimes you should. Because a lot of these juveniles that's walking around now, they walk around with a sense of entitlement, like motherfuckers is supposed to hand them something, get them something. Get them a cookie every time they do something good. A lot of times the good things that you do will not go noticed, including busting your ass doing what you gotta do. Shame on any of our elders in the District of Columbia or the surrounding area that has juveniles around them on a constant, whether that's your distant family, that's your close friends, that's your kids, all that. And you ain't telling them the right thing? Shame on you. It's a sad time. And the desperation, and see, this how I grew up, right? This how I grew up. I grew up in a household where I always knew when the bills was due and shit. I always stressed about when the water was gonna get cut off, and the water did get cut off. A lot of times. Have you ever gone seasons and seasons without hot water? Have you ever done that? If not, maybe you should. It'll be a very humbling experience. Maybe you'll go out, make an earnest living, and try to help in the future. You try to help your mother instead of just thinking about yourself. A lot of our elders and guardians in the District of Columbia, they make it so that it's your responsibility at a very young age to provide for the family, and that's a toxic fucking trait. Since I was about 12 years old, I was helping with bills. That's the type of life that I lived. A lot of these, the youth today doesn't know nothing about that, and I don't want them to stress about that. But you gotta go through some shit to really know what's valuable and what's not. What's worth it and what's not. Who will get with and who's a leader. If you can stand alone or if you can't. And a lot of people can't stand alone. So what ends up happening is they turn into that follower.